A week earlier, in New York, at the conclusion of a talk between Bill and Stephen Shore, a portion of the audience rushed the stage, young people requesting autographs and snapping pictures with digital cameras. Later, a woman asked Bill to sign the back of her Leica, and then the inside of her arm, so she could have a tattoo made from Eggleston's signature. I'd like to think this star treatment reflects a kind of cultural catching up, an enlightened appetite for the qualities you find in Eggleston's pictures: tenderness and detachment, transparency and mystery. There's been a corresponding catching up with the work of Stephen Shore, who's 8 years younger than Bill. Here they are at Bill's 1976 MoMA opening. And here's Eggleston photographed by Shore in Memphis in 1973. It'd be pretty nifty and all but inevitable to have a show pairing work by Eggleston and Shore. They were both apostles of color photography at a time when color was assumed to be an inappropriate medium for art photography, and they shared a certain omnivorous approach to the American scene. What might be considered common and even dull was interpreted through their cameras as low-key spectacle. Casual experience was prized, heightened, clarified. The commonplace became resplendent. Here they are, at the invitation of Tokyon magazine, in a conversation moderated by Glenn O'Brien.
This is William Eggleston, and this is Stephen Shore. I'm not an art critic, I'm not an art historian, I don't know anything. A lot of my friends saw the documentary about Mr. Eggleston and saying, well, he's so great, but then people were asking him stupid questions, so that made me really nervous. So I'll try not to ask any stupid questions, but maybe the audience will have some really stupid questions that'll make me feel better. How did you become a photographer?
I was in my first year of college, and I had a closest friend at boarding school I'd been at, and we went to the same college, which was Vanderbilt, Nashville, and he was interested in photography and marched me downtown and made me buy a camera, which I was not interested in at all. Developing kit. And immediately thought it was the most interesting thing to do. And started neglecting my studies.
Talk about what you had mentioned earlier about all art photography being in black and white, and this change to color.
That really is true.
Oh yes, but I think it was also that the time was right. It's like one of those inventions that was discovered by 2 or 3 people at the same time in different countries. A friend of Bill's, Bill Christenberry, started working in color. We started around the same time, and a photographer in Italy, very fine photographer named Luigi Ghiri, you know him?
Yeah, right.
Was starting around 1970. Mm-hmm. So I think it was one of those changes that the world was primed for. Everything else was in color. All magazine photography, advertising snapshots, medical photography. There had been a few great photographers who had used color, but they tried a roll of it. They never tried to really figure it out and tame it.
That's true.
Do you ever think about your audience?
I don't know. I think my audience is me.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I think one of the things that's great about both of your work is that I think it sort of teaches people how to look at things. Because you both photograph things that people would just pass by without really, paying any attention to it. And it's kind of, a lot of it is about paying attention.
That makes sense.
Let's consider ourselves lucky to remember the old truism. The deepest dialogue between artists happens in their work.